Hi and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. Okay, this is Mailbag, common feature of the channel. It's where I attempt to answer questions that you guys have left on the channel, or if I can't answer them, I have a good go at answering them, or I throw them out to the wider Tubi community to try and answer on behalf of somebody who's raised the question. Now, we'll get into this mailbag. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. The next question or comment comes from J Mac, and this was quite a long one actually, and it was in response to how to restore the factory sounds to the Korg T1 from disc. Video I did in September 2017. And J Mac writes, "Hi MTG, I stumbled onto a T1 video and have no idea how to use it. I mean, I can't even get it to make a sound. I'm not a keyboard guy at all, I'm a guitar guy. And actually I've had quite a lot of correspondence with Jeff. And I got the keyboard to try and learn music theory. Can you help a novice out? Do I need this to make it play? Help me MTG. You're my only hope." Sounds a bit like Star Wars, doesn't it? You're the only hope, Luke Skywalker. Anyway, so if you get this sort of thing where it's not doing too much in a T1, a couple of things you want to check. First of all, is the battery still good? Remember, you know, if you put stuff in storage and it has volatile memory, the longer you have it switched off, the more battery gets used. If you use it all the time, the battery life gets extended. So first thing, is the battery still good? A dead battery will wipe all the tones from the memory, which could account for the no sounds. You should find a video to help you to do this in my channel's T1 playlist. If the battery is dead, you need to reload at least the factory set. This can be undertaken via Sysex, or, you know, guys, I do actually have the factory disc on the media replacement service, link below, if you want to get hold of that. I seem to be knocking T1 discs out rate of knots, actually, if I'm brutally honest. And I've got to do some more T1 discs, so it means I've got to go and recover the T1 from storage, because I'm all out of them at the moment. So you can do it either way. You can do it by Sysex, but I would recommend that if you own a T1, I recommend if you own any keyboard that has a floppy disk drive, that you actually have the factory reset disc on floppy disk, because it's so much easier. Anyway, JMac writes back and says, "Yes, sir, I did. I don't think it's the battery. I've read in the manual that the display will let you know when you need to change it. The display is not telling me that. I'm not sure what you mean by you might need to get a technical resource to help you diagnose the problem. Should the keyboard work as soon as it's turned on?" Well, the bottom line is, it should, but you need to have a little bit of background on the T1. So I answered an ad on Facebook, and then I've read this the wrong way. Then he gave me some background. So basically what he did was there was an ad on Facebook, Marketplace, T1 was in the basement of the church, pristine condition, not a scratch on it. Probably played on Sundays. The lady that owned it showed it to me, couldn't even get the display working and knew nothing about it other than it worked the last time they used it. Well, that's always, it used to work. Anyway. They haven't held a service there in over a year due to COVID, so the organist was not available to teach me anything about it. Long story short, bought it for $100. You got a bargain. Whether it works or not, you still got a bargain. And that's 100 Canadian as well, not 100 US. Got home, learned there was a brightness knob on the back for the display. I'm pretty sure the thing works. I just don't know how as I don't understand what I need. So anyway, I sent a little bit more to work with. I sent him a link to a video, which was about how the firmware on the T1 worked, how to make sure you're on the right version of the firmware. The reason I'm pointing this out is the boot sequence on the keyboard. When you switch it on, it should work. You see basically the T1 logo come up and it goes straight into 001, which is called Cosmic Rain. So if you can see that as a default combination, you've basically got the factory set loaded. And what else are you seeing on the screen? Because you need to look at the screen. It tells you other things. So when you fiddle with the contrast pot, did you see what was, did it come up with the right things? Theoretically, the display will tell you when you need a new battery unless the battery is already dead. So that's kind of a bit of an oxymoron, yeah. If the battery is dead, it won't tell you need a new battery, by the way. That is actually what happens. So there you go. It works when you've got a dying battery. It doesn't work when you've got a dead battery. Yeah, go figure that one. Anyway, change the battery is relatively easy. You can make, and if you can get it to make noise, given the strength of storage, length of storage, I'd change the battery anyway. There is a video on my channel that shows you how to do that. You said it doesn't need an amp. This is wrong. This was a top of range keyboard when it was brand new, and it doesn't have any audio capability in it. So anyone looking at a T1, it's a professional keyboard, you need amplification. If you haven't got it connected to an amp and you want to try things, this is actually a truth thing, and one of the things I do when I go buy a keyboard. Let me just grab these. I always take some of these with me when I go buy a keyboard. Because quite often somebody will say, I haven't got an amplifier, you can switch it on, it all works. You can always plug in a set of headphones and you can find out whether it really does work or not. Put that back up there. So always take a set of headphones with you when you're buying a keyboard. Remember, these things are 30 odd plus years old, so there's going to be some fall balls on them. If you've got the local option on a keyboard, especially on the T1, set to on, then effectively the keyboard acts as a MIDI controller. It doesn't act as a keyboard, so it generates no sounds locally, and therefore you get no sound out of it. So that's another thing to look at. But the bottom line, $100 Canadian, you've snagged a bargain. And I'll just give you a bit of update on that. So it turns out there is a problem with the audio circuit on the keyboard, which we then went on to do a lot more correspondence backwards and forwards between Jeff and I, which he's going to have to get a local service tech in, because it's one of those jobs where you need to open the board up and then track back through the audio circuit to find out what is causing the problem. I suspect it is something in the op-amp circuitry, but Jeff lives in Canada, I live in England. It's very difficult to do this across the pond, so I recommended he gets us a local guy in just to go through it.